Приветушки-плюшки, я Тори, и мы заканчиваем проходить Enderal. Сейчас-то, наверное, точно заканчиваем. Короче, я не знаю, сколько у меня по времени прошлой серии получилось. Не знаю, сколько получится по времени этой серии, но я надеюсь, вы их осилите. Вам все понравится, потому что мне очень интересно. Я сегодня записываю везде, если честно. Короче, мне маркер говорит сюда, но тут ничего нет. Давайте посмотрим немножко, пройдем. Может, что-то где-то есть. Просто я ничего не понимаю. Мы отсюда. Туда меня не пускает какой-то говорящий клубок. А тут ничего нет. Ну, давайте пройдем дальше. Я не знаю, если честно. Куда? Чего? Так, здесь ничего нет. Я надеюсь, я... Ну, не просто тут так раз трачу время. Блин, так обидно за пара. Нет, подождите, мне кажется, что-то все-таки мне надо подойти. Давайте сохранюсь. Короче, все они тут неправы, я считаю.
This was their last stand. They are afraid of us. I feel it.
Так, значит, я правильно делаю, что подхожу.
You've killed us! You've killed us all! You have just shown me the solution.
И сейчас пока ничего не понятно. Значит, да, значит, правильно я. Где я? Куда меня отправили? Я не буду сейчас смотреть на карту. Подождите, это же тот корабль. Ну, похоже, там просто такой же был выход. Помните корабль с заданием, где там ассистентка еще была, предательница? Нет, это что-то другое. Ух, ё-моё! Посмотри, он, кстати, не доделал. У него там что-то у него там происходит. Там человек или что-то такое.
Why are you here? Be gone, Phantom. Be gone and leave me to my slumber. Then this isn't a dream. You really are here.
Ну да.
But why? The prophet dies when the emperor leaves him. This is the course of the game.
Ты кто?
It has always been so. Explain yourself. How did you find this place? And why do you still exist?
Меня женщина спасла.
Her? But why? She does not have a mind. She does not have feelings. So why should she do this? But still you speak the truth. I can feel it. Then could it really be that the unlikeliest of all eventualities has become reality and brought you here? Coincidence or caprice, I do not know. The veiled woman cannot be understood. I am sorry. It's been too long since I've spoken to anyone. I have had many names. The Akarians called me the God of Death. The Moonskin people, the Warden of Dreams. The Pyreans, the Demon of the Deep. For your people I am, or was, the Black Guardian. Pompous names, I know. However, I am none of these, neither god nor demon. I am only an eye, condemned to observe again and again.
Кто тебя вообще
As
сделал?
you measure time, older than your most daring chronicles go back, by far. I have seen them all, since our people fell. Every civilization, every cleansing, every turn of the cycle. But, no. The Starlings came long after me. I was only a fool who wanted to save his own skin at any cost. I knew the cleansing would come. I had known it long before the Red Madness and the war started. But I also knew that fighting it as my people did, and as most do, was pointless. So I looked for another way to prevail. And I found it. What you see here is the result. The Goliath. As I like to call it back then. What is it? My self-dug grave.
Да я вижу.
What it was meant to be was a body of steel, an immortal machine with which I planned to merge my consciousness. Only organic life could be reaped by the High Ones, and I thought that by becoming a machine, I could fool them. By the name of the sun, how brilliant I thought myself. I wanted to become a god, laughing in the face of time. But let me spare you my self-pity. What happened, happened. No. Joining the Goliath meant immortality. All I had to do was sleep and awaken once more when the cycle started again, and new life came forth. Except that this new life would not have been defenseless. I would have been a true god to them, one capable of protecting them from the High Ones. No imaginary figure like the Creator, no false gods like the Lightborn were, to speak in your language. As the only one of my people, yes. But it happened faster than it should have. And when the cleansing occurred, the Goliath was not yet finished. And as the Emperor unleashed the light, I had no choice but to complete the joining too early. A fatal error, as it turned out. I did survive, yes. But I am trapped inside this unfinished machine. And ever since then, all I can do is watch. Again and again.
Я сейчас даже не знаю, что сейчас говорить, поэтому просто получаем очень много новой информации.
Yes, but a part of the Goliath is the eye. It allows me to see what happens on the surface everywhere. Not as literal as you imagine, of course. I see schemes, feel emotions, similar to your gift, to the Echo. But they are enough to understand. Yes, it was not how I planned it. The Goliath in its final form was meant to be divine, a synthesis of man and steel. But I overestimated myself, and I acted too quickly, driven by fear. No, you do not understand. You are stumbling through the fog, even now that it is almost over. by themselves. The High Ones are not the problem. If we would just see them as they really are, they would become powerless. Yes, it is hard to put into words. I myself do not know everything about the High Ones. Only that they are part of something we call the cycle. A civilization arises and blossoms, and then, always at the same stage of their development, the High Ones appear, and with them, the Red Madness. People start losing their minds, wars erupt, and chaos rules. Until 2 or 3 years later, the cleansing happens. The moment when the High Ones devour the collective consciousness, the gathered minds of this civilization, to give birth to a new one of their own. Despite all of this, nobody knows what drives them. Perhaps they act out of malice, out of an urge to survive, or perhaps they do not even have a will of their own, but are like a force of nature. But I do know one thing, as powerful as they might be, it is mankind who gives them that power. We make them into what they are, because what nobody understands is simply this. The High Ones feed on what humanity has the most of, their ego, greed, pride, fear, and their everlasting search for an enemy who is responsible for all their misery. It is those traits the High Ones make use of. These characteristics are what make us human, and by themselves, they are harmless. Only when we bury them, when we deny them, then they play into the High One's hands. So why is this, you ask? It is simple. The High Ones alone cannot make the cleansing happen. Only a human can. With the beacon, my knowledge about it is as limited as my knowledge about the cycle. It has existed since the beginning of time, and despite what you might now believe, the ancient writings about it are true. Lit by the ones who carry the Numenos, it can banish the High Ones once and for all. But it can also destroy us. Because what happens when it is lit without a core is far more than an explosion. It is the cleansing, the triumph of the High Ones. And even as we speak, a human, Tealor Orinthiol, has done it again. A bright light will appear from the heart of the machine and open a hole in the sky. And within hours, it will spread throughout the world, and they will all feel it. A fire that burns them from within. A white light which will break through their flesh. Do you understand now? The High Ones have no power. All they do is to feed on our weaknesses, manipulate us into bringing about our own destruction. It is we who forge the sword that kills us. We who lead them to their victory, even though the key to salvation has always been in our hands. But instead of realizing our folly, we make the same mistake. We repeat the same fate over and over, and only because we refuse to see the truth. Yes, the High Ones are our enemy, but who wants to hear that it is our ego, that dark voice within us, that empowers them? It is so ironic. The moment we would realize all this would be the moment it all came to an end. But we do not. be so. Dreams, thoughts, visions, they are everywhere. But the principle is always the same. They throw a tainted seed into a fertile ground. The rest happens by itself.
Я не знаю, как у вас. А у меня очень смешанные чувства.
Just think for a moment. When did the High Ones ever do anything other than manipulate you? Did they ever physically influence any events? They incited the Naramis to march against you, and time and again confirmed the righteousness of both your causes. All they told you, all they showed you, was what you wanted to hear and what you wanted to see. And yes, if you, Tealor and Theal, his order, and the Naramis had never acted, the cleansing would never have happened. Maybe there is, but if so, I do not know it. But the more turns of the cycle I witness, the more I get the impression that it is some kind of trial. A cosmic game woven by powers we have not even come close to comprehending. Maybe this is just wishful thinking, to give all this pain a meaning when it does not have one. Maybe the High Ones are simply a law of nature, a concept, and we give birth to them by believing there is such a thing as an ultimate external enemy in the first place. The eternal struggle with ourselves. Perhaps that is just part of what it means to exist. Like 1,000 others before him, the High Ones knew exactly what they had to do to get him to commit this last act of desperation. They played him with his weaknesses and fears, like a figure on a chessboard. And the saddest part is that until the very end, he will believe that he has done something good. That was his greatest fear, yes. To be remembered as a failure, a broken man. That was the string the High Ones manipulated him from the moment he died, after attempting to flee from his prison on Nehrim.
Он умер? Шо?
The real Arinthial. He is dead, prophetess. He is a fleshless one of the mightiest tools of the High Ones. Just as you are. I wish it were. The methods of how the High Ones influence us are plentiful, and the red madness and their ability to enter our dreams are not their only means. Their mightiest tool is the creation of projections, fleshless ones, or emissaries, as they are also called. If a person dies, and if this person has one last unfulfilled wish, a compulsion, then the High Ones have the power to create a projection of him, an immaterial image of the deceased, which thinks itself real and is perceived as such. What no one notices, not even the projection itself, are two things. Firstly, it is driven by this last unfulfilled desire. Secondly, it becomes an idealized version of its former self, almost tailor-made to free itself from the last compulsion, that ultimate scourge. The daughters of fishermen become warriors. Broken generals become charismatic and driven leaders who seem almost too determined to be real. You are one of these projections, as are all of the emissaries. You are a fleshless one, a spirit searching for liberation from something. I do not know your past before you came to this land, because before you became the prophetess, you were insignificant. But what happened to you and your friend on that ship? You never survived it. You drowned in the Red Sea, and in that very moment, the High Ones entered your mind and made you into what you are today. And other than myself, the High Ones knew your compulsion, knew the desire that drove you. Whatever it was, it made you predictable, and it allowed them to play you, just as they played Orynthiol and Korak. Do you see it now? Every dream the High Ones sent you, every time they appeared to you, they all had but a single purpose: to feed your self-image, to push you in a certain direction. They wanted you to play the game for their purposes, and they succeeded. You read the echo of the future, as other prophets did before you. You helped Orynthiol reconstruct the beacon, and led him to the Numinos. When he saw that it would be taken away from him at the very last instant, his fear of failure led him into doing what he did. You are not to blame, prophetess. You did what countless others did before you, and you did it because you thought it was the right thing to do. Only one thing is different. In all the time I have been here, never before did a projection realize its own nature. You were meant to dissolve like the rest of mankind. Yet, here you stand, and I tell you the truth. This was never meant to happen.
Вы ожидали такого? Я нет. Капец. Блин, и тут столько еще диалогов.
No, it is as I said. For as long as this cycle has existed, so has the beacon. It is an element of the game, and it has the power to end it, whether in favor of the High Ones or in favor of mankind. Yet for as long as I have been trapped here, the latter has never happened. They gave you impulses, nudges in the right direction. Those who know a person's past know which strings to pull. The Starlings, in their time, were called the Yalam Rache, and yes, they manipulated the game in their favor. Their goals were similar to mine when I created the Goliath. They were a small circle of highly intelligent craftsmen and mages, and just like myself, they did not think the cycle could be won by the beacon alone. So by unknown means, they fled into the sky and created something that protected their city from the cleansing. Yes. But knowledge about their history is sparse, since the Star City was almost beyond the reach of my eye. But I know that its first centuries were glorious. The Yalam Rache lived in harmony, and their society was the pinnacle of all that mankind could be. With time, however, their population grew. They became too numerous for their small city, And so they invented their golden rules, which were supposed to control their growth. Having children was regulated now, and those who were found guilty of a crime were punished heavily. The worst sentence was being exiled. The convicted were robbed of their memories and sent back to Earth. This is where the starlings of your world come from, do you see? And this is why they all feel this longing to return to a far distant place in the stars. It is an ancestral memory. I do not know. As I said, my knowledge about the starlings was always limited. All I do know is that one day they were gone. I could not feel them anymore. By that time, their society had become but a shadow of what it once was. But whether they destroyed themselves or left for someplace else, I will never find out.
А жаль, очень интересно было бы узнать, что с ними случилось.
Oh, believe me, I have. I've done nothing else for a very, very long time. But it is true, whether you want to believe it or not. In time, you would have noticed it. The wrinkles in your skin would not have become any deeper, nor your hair any whiter. And if the cleansing were to be stopped, you would continue to exist forever. What reason would I have to lie to you?
Ну да.
Oh, stop it. No, it is too late for that. By the name of the sun, it is so ironic that the veiled woman did not lead you here earlier. It is over, prophetess. You are strong. But regardless of how long your power can protect you from the light of the cleansing, eventually you will dissolve too. Even if... Wait. No. Maybe. Maybe you are right. Maybe there is a way. But... no. It would be pointless.
Да ладно, говори уже.
Forgive me, I have to think.
Какое подумать некогда.
There could be a way. What I told you is true. Here on Earth, you would not survive the cleansing. But there is one place where you could. The Star City. I know that you brought something back from your journey there. The escape pods. And I know that they can also take you back there, for I have seen the Yalam Rashe, the ancient starlings, do so. Whatever has protected the city over all these millennia, it would protect you too. Yes, you could survive it. By the face of time, you could. No, it would not. But that is irrelevant. You are fleshless, a projection. And just like me, time cannot touch you. Age cannot kill you. And thus you could succeed where I have failed. You could wait for the cleansing to be over. And then create a new humanity. Create a new humanity. It is only a matter of time until the new turn of the cycle starts. New life will come forth. First, simple life, then human. And just like the civilizations before them, they will also fall victim to the high ones, because they will have the same
Имеет
weaknesses
смысл на
as we
самом
do.
деле.
But not with your help. You could be a god to them. You could guide their ascent. You could shape a mankind free of egos and weaknesses. And by doing so, you would deprive the High Ones of their power. Just imagine, in this new world, there would be no need for a beacon, because the High Ones simply would not have any strings to pull on. Mankind will defeat them by becoming superior.
Блин, как же много информации.
Yes, because that old starling did harm to the city by trying to destroy a crystal. That awoke the Guardians, but they are asleep now. I can feel it. You would be safe, believe me. The High Ones reap, we sow. It is our weakness that make the High Ones strong, our ongoing fragility. And if not for that, the High Ones would be powerless. You could be the one to create a humanity like that. Altruism instead of greed. Self-responsibility instead of the continuous search for an enemy. Awareness instead of blindness. The Lightborn tried to force their ideals onto an already rotten people, just like the Pyrean Sun Priest and the countless false deities before them. You cannot save a tree whose roots have already withered, but with you as a deity to lead this new mankind, it would be entirely different. You could completely change what it means to be human. And would it not be presumptuous to rob the world of this chance, simply because you are afraid of failing? Believe me, I would give a lot for this chance. No, they are already dead, damn it. Arinthiel has lit the beacon, and unlike anything else you could do right now,
Да ладно,
this
хорошо.
will
Ну,
be
в
a chance
принципе,
for permanent change.
попробовать-то
In the face of time,
всегда можно.
do not let all of this become meaningless. Every second you waste doubting lessens your chance to get to safety. It means a lot to me to hear you say that. What is important now is that we act quickly. The cleansing is already happening, and you will not have much time left to flee. You must go through the portal and then back to the temple. Then you have to activate the pods, and the rest will happen automatically.
Как же
When all this is
так?
over,
Наверное,
I will
все.
try to reach out to you.
Чё с Джеспаром?
Yes. But this is one more reason why you have to do the right thing.
Все, тогда поехали.
Please, make his death matter. Yes, and hurry. You will feel the light as soon as you are back on the surface. And given time, it will consume you. But you will succeed. I feel it.
Вообще мы же очень далеко.
There is one more thing I need to ask of you, however. One final request. I want you to shut me down. Yes, I want to finally rest. Please do not try to convince me to do otherwise. All that. I do not want to be a part of it any longer. I have not wanted to for a long, long time. Please, do it.
Ну ладно.
The switch is in front of you. That was how I connected myself to the Goliath. It will cut the connection as well. Do it, and then go. Go and fulfill your fate.
Вот это?
Thank you.
Что происходит?
Forgive me. The two must now exchange places. I'm sorry for the deception. And if there were another way, I would not do this. Even though you made the right choice, you are too naive to become a true god.
Ладно, все равно не хочу жить в мире, где есть Джеспара.
What have you seen? You are but a toddler in the face of time. I, however, know mankind better than anyone else, and I deserve it. Once this is all over, I will send someone to free
Да ты такой же красивый.
but until then,
А, господи, ты жив!
Vital ones, Hermit. Are you okay? I was so
Шубер.
afraid. You.
miserable fool! I would have kept my word, but if you want to play games, fine! I have had enough time to practice!
Shit.
Тш. Кофиг. Господи, я так обрадовалась, когда, когда Джеспар прибежал. А чего ты на него нападаете? Да я не могу, я это... Куда? Дышать. Не трожьте мою булочку.
The shields are down. The generators now.
Куда? Чего? Как? Быстрее. Как их выключить-то? А, все хорошо.
What are you doing? You'll get yourself killed. We need to deal with these things here first.
Да. Подождите.
Shit. Not again. Get away from the glowing one.
Он меня в это жмыхнул.
Oh shit.
Так, я надеюсь, все, что он мне наговорил, правда. Ну почти. Давай быстрее, да блин, эти добивания сейчас вообще не в тему.
That doesn't look good. Get away from the runes.
And I will take what I deserve!
Так, руны, хорошо. Дрожь моего. Блин. Он у меня обманул, что Джеспар умер.
Not again. Get away from the runes.
Так, подождите. Мне надо ломать эти штуки или нет? Уже ничего не понимаю.
What are you doing? You'll get yourself killed. We need to deal with these things here first. Not again. Get away from the runes.
С какими штуками? С этими? Не понимаю. Что делать? Джеспар, что делать?
What are you doing? You'll get yourself killed. We need to deal with these things here first.
С какими штуками? С этими? А,
Shields are down. The generators now.
чё? Не сломалась? Господи. Я так нервничаю. Чё там все в тучку сбились, в кучку?
He's breathing fire again.
Куда?
Get away from him.
Вали. Вали! Ты что там встал? Такой вопросик.
Now, attack the generators.
Я нервничаю. Быстрее. %70 состояния щита. Блин. Господи, как сложно. Конструкция с плоти.
Holy shit! Get away from the glowing one, quickly!
Что? Чего? Тихо. Взрывается, а, зараза.
The shields are down. The generators now.
Ты можешь тоже что-то делать будешь? Что ты стоишь, орешь? %75%. Это было 75. Давайте вот тот постреляй. Я... Блин. Я не понимаю, что он так делает. Стрелы! 30 штук. Ай-яй-яй. Все же багает. Да быстро, хватит мне. Надо было отключить это. Сейчас пару, все хорошо. Еще где-то. Тут нет. А, нет, все, надо бить. Давайте по очереди, я не знаю. Они какие-то тупые. Они меня в упор не видят.
Holy shit! Get away from the glowing one, quickly!
Какой светящейся штуки? Да уберите. А-а-а! Надо его бить издалека.
The shields are down. The generators now.
Ты что-то слишком много знаешь, Джеспар. У меня к тебе вопросы. Это ты там сидел до этого? Да я не понимаю, я продвигаюсь вообще как-то или нет? Я уже столько раз попадала. Мне такое ощущение, как будто...
Again. Get away from the runes.
К тебе подойду. Чё ты ничего не делаешь? У меня вопрос. Господи, вот это эпик.
Again. Get away from the runes.
Ай-яй-яй-яй. Так ты тоже отходи, чё ж ты там стоишь?
Now, attack the generators.
Сейчас, не кричи. Блин, хоть бы писали, что какой-то есть прогресс или нет.
Lestry, Lexus, get away from the machine now.
Быстрей! Да не стой ты, беги, пожалуйста. Дайте стрелы. Все? Спарту где?
Now, attack the generators.
Ты мне поможешь, может, а? Мне, конечно, спасибо, что спас, но... Я вообще не понимаю, что-то происходит или нет. По-моему, вообще ничего не происходит.
Oh, son. He's breathing fire again. Get away.
Нет! Так, это просто валяются уже. Где тут был? Был же. Ты видела?
Get away from the room.
А, вот смотрите, он опять их закрывает. Ой-ой-ой. Так, во-первых, амброзию надо. Существует электричество. Господи, как хорошо, что я не пила зелье всю игру почти.
Not yet. Get away from the runes.
Ой. Так, ну как-то вот тут вроде бы. А ты-то чего возле рун стоишь? Может, мне мечом надо идти вообще, а? Генератор. Тут еще где-то остался. Эту схему...
Get away from the runes.
Эту схему я уже поняла. Но сейчас вроде как бессмысленно. Да.
You'll get yourself killed. We need to deal with these things here first.
Хорошо. А-а-а. Где еще? Я уже не знаю, сколько времени я с ними тут дерусь. Чё тут стоишь? Пыхать огнем, пыхать. Чё? Еще где-то?
The shields are down. The generators now.
Быстрее. 50% состояния щита. Капец, это долго. Джиспар. Ладно, я тебе все прощаю, так рада, что ты жив.
Oh, son. He's breathing fire again. Get away from him.
Так. Ты-то что стоишь, дурак? Мне кажется, должен сражаться, он ничего не делает. Так вот тут столько этих штук.
The shields are down. The generators now.
Быстрей. Ничего, мне кажется, быстрее. 50%. Все еще 50%. 25. Ай! 0%. Джиспар побежал спасать меня.
Holy shit. Get away from the boring one. Quickly.
Что? А, опять эта штука. Ой-ой-ой. Подожди. Защита от огня.
Attack the generators.
Другой надо, да? Да, другой. У них еще и разные это. Ну ладно, я сейчас буду так долго бежать. Быстрее. Ладно, по крайней мере, я поняла, как это работает. Уже хорошо. Как их много.
Oh, son. He's breathing fire again. Get away from him.
А, прям в башку. Так, ну хорошо, теперь мне нужен вот тот генератор.
Now. Attack the generators.
Пока я подхожу вот так. Теперь быстрей.
What have you done?
Нет, тебе надо. Чертила. Господи, неужели?
I guess the explanations will have to wait. I had a feeling that might be the case. Go on ahead. I'll follow. Yeah, I guessed as much. Yuzlan and he didn't even try to get me inside after that dragon attacked us. Lucky for me, I found another way in. Otherwise, I
Я
never would
думала,
have found
ты
you.
умер.
And you were...
Что такое?
My skull, it feels like it's on fire.
Поехали к
This must be the
звездникам.
cleansing. If this is how it feels down here, then fate have mercy on those who are on the surface. Don't you feel anything? Then the Black Guardian was right, wasn't he? What you are, your fleshlessness, it protects you. By the wise hermit, I just don't understand. I mean, you're here, right before me, and I can see you. Is it really possible? Could you be an illusion? Huh. I guess so. So, what now? Your decision, is it final?
Что ты хочешь?
Oh, of course. Who better to answer that question than a philanthropist like me? But if you insist, I think the Black Guardian was right, though. Sacrificing yourself, it would be pointless. Even if I somehow managed to escape the explosion from the beacon, how do we know that those other people Orenthiel put so much faith in would even believe me? You said it yourself, people want to be deluded. That's what makes the High Ones so strong. But to create a new world, as bizarre as all this sounds, I think it would be our best chance. But then again, it is your call. If we flee,
Ну и
I
ладно,
won't
мы
live to see this
вместе.
new mankind. I don't know. But there is a secret passage into the South Quarter. If I can reach the Myra there, I might be able to flee to one of the islands. I think I can make it. Somehow.
Нет, мы с тобой уезжаем. Так, нужно бежать. Все, пошли.
Then, in a few hours' time, the two of us will be the only survivors of mankind. Heck, that sounds so unreal. You have to prepare the escape pods. I'll wait for your signal. Now go, before it's too late. And be careful.
Я так нервничаю. Это еще не конец. Найдите Калию. Ладно, давайте уже добивать. Что, времени 12 часов ночи. Почему бы, собственно, и нет? Ох, как же я отсюда пришла-то? Ё-моё, вот отсюда вроде бы. Найдем Калию, спасемся втроем. Я надеюсь, они там вдвоем они не начнут того этого. Ну, вы поняли. Не состыкуются без меня. Пиши. Найдем Калию. Ну, все-таки мы друзья. Мы же подружки, все-таки как-никак. Да, может быть, иногда мы не согласны друг с другом. Это же ничего не значит, правильно? Блин. Пытаться телепортироваться. Хорошо, у меня есть свиток храм солнца. Калия! Калии уже нет. Мне кажется, уже нет Калии. Джеспара уже никого сейчас, мне кажется, не будет, пока я тут бегаю. как вообще добираться до капсул? Они где-то в зиме вообще валяются. А, вот он. Подождите, колея-то где? Стопик. Ой, не то. Эти колеи. Блин, где же ее искать-то? Ё-моё. А, она знаете где? Она, наверное... Боже мой, колея. Колея. О. Понятно, все умирают. Колею не видели? Что с своими волосами? Колея!
Saira, I thought you were dead. The beacon, the Naramis. They tried to storm the temple, as the Grandmaster said they would. We tried to stop them, but there were just too many of them. Orenthia, he came back just when we thought it was too late. That the High Ones killed you, Sharim, Jespar, all of you, and that he found the Numinos and would save us all. Then he went to the beacon and... Yes, just then Naramis broke through the gate, but it all happened so quickly. There was this flash, and suddenly this rift in the sky. The light, it burns us from within. Can't you feel it, Saira? Different. I don't understand. I suppose it doesn't matter anymore, does it? I don't have much longer. I can feel it. Saira, tell me one thing. What's happening here? I thought the beacon would save us. What? But you're here. That must mean something, right? You can stop it. You can save
Я
us.
уже ничего не могу.
Hope. I like the sound of that. At least that means that all of this wasn't for nothing. We did something good. And that's...
Все. Колея в минус. О, полетели, полетели. Полетели. Колея еще не полетела. Господи, пожалуйста, хоть бы Джеспар со мной спасся. Это все, что я прошу. Главное, без него не улететь еще. Случайно. А тут будет вообще фейл века.
Quickly. Get us out of here.
Чё? Что делать? Запустить. А как их запустить-то? Еще. Я нервничаю просто, ребята. Хорошо. Джеспар. Поехали. Я надеюсь, я его не оставлю тут сейчас случайно. Там не было кнопки. Опять мы здесь. Ага. Мне кажется, Джаспар тоже исчез. Как мне тяжело и грустно это признавать. Так, подождите. Я на Она была на кровати. Сама бы я сюда тут не легла бы, да? Джаспар, боже ты мой. Запомните это всегда. У нас тут курочки бегают, надо с голоду не умрем.
Hey.
Привет.
I don't know. When I woke up, we were here.
Что?
You were still unconscious, so I took the liberty of carrying you into that room.
Спасибо.
Just look at that. From here, it all seems so peaceful, untouched, as if all that's happened was nothing but a bad dream. I guess as far as the world's concerned, it doesn't make a difference if we live or die. Now it's up to us.
Боже мой. Что ж, я очень рада, что я спаслась вместе с Джаспаром. Если бы я была одна, было бы не так хорошо. Ну блин, ну это просто поворот за поворотом. Я, конечно, подозревала, что все пойдет не так, и в итоге произойдет очищение. Но я не думала, что мы спасемся. Господи, как музыка орёт, боже мой. Можно убавить. Блять. В общем, мне очень понравилось. Пишите ваши впечатления. Что думаете? Ну, блин, это просто шикарно, шикардосина. Конечно, в конце было тяжело. Зато с Джаспаром. Что еще сказать?